I gave my friend a huge amount of money without any official contract, but after that, he disappeared and never paid me back. It all started on what seemed like a normal day. I was sitting in our usual cafe when he showed up suddenly. His face looked pale, his hands were shaking, and his eyes carried a kind of fear I had never seen before. He sat down in silence for a moment before finally saying, "I need your help. My life is falling apart." I was shocked by his tone. This was someone I had known for years, someone I trusted like a brother. We had been through so much together, shared secrets, celebrated victories, and comforted each other in our darkest moments. So when he told me he was drowning in debt and that someone was threatening him if he didn't pay within a few days, my first instinct was to help. I asked how much he needed. The number he mentioned was so big that it made me freeze for a moment. But the desperation in his voice, the way his words trembled, convinced me. That night, I went home, opened my savings, and gathered the money. The next day, I placed the cash in his hands and said, "I trust you. Just promise me you'll pay it back." He looked me in the eye and said with a nervous smile, "I swear, just a few weeks, and I'll return everything." I didn't ask for a paper, a signature, or even a single witness. For me, trust was worth more than any contract. At first, everything seemed fine. He sent me short messages. "Don't worry, I'll pay you back soon. Thank you for being there for me." But soon, things started to change. My calls went unanswered. My texts were left on read, and when he did reply, his answers felt cold, distant, like he was no longer the same person. One evening, I went to his house, but no one opened the door. A neighbor told me they hadn't seen him in days. Slowly, a dark thought began to creep into my mind. Had he lied to me? Did he use me? Did I just lose a friend and my savings at the same time? I sat in my room that night, staring at the dark screen of my phone, scrolling through old messages, trying to convince myself that he was just going through something and would eventually come back. But deep down, another voice whispered, "He's gone, and he's not coming back." And that's how my story began, with betrayal I never thought possible. After weeks of silence, my frustration began to grow. Every unanswered call felt like another knife in my back. I tried reaching out on social media, but it was as if he had vanished into thin air. His profiles went dark. No new posts, no replies, nothing. I couldn't accept it. This was my closest friend. There had to be an explanation. So I started asking around. I contacted mutual friends, people we both grew up with, and even old classmates. Most of them were shocked when I told them what happened. Some said they hadn't seen him in months. Others avoided the conversation as if they knew more than they were willing to share. One night, I even drove to his parents' house. His mother opened the door, her face tired and worried. I asked if she had seen him, and she sighed deeply before saying, "He's been distant from us too. We don't know what he's doing anymore." There was something in her eyes, sadness mixed with shame, that told me the story was more complicated than I imagined. That only made things worse. Now I wasn't just worried about my money. I was worried about him. Was he in trouble with dangerous people? Was he hiding from debts bigger than mine? Or was he simply running away from everyone who once cared about him? I kept replaying the moment I handed him the money, his shaky smile, his voice when he promised to return it. Was it all an act? Or was he sincere at the time and just lost control afterward? At work, I found it hard to focus. At night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept spinning with questions. Friends started telling me to let it go, to accept the loss. But how could I? It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about betrayal, about the years of trust we had built. The breaking point came when I thought I saw him. I was walking downtown one afternoon, and across the street, I caught a glimpse of someone who looked exactly like him. Same jacket, same walk. My heart nearly stopped. I rushed across the road, pushing through people, but when I got there, he was gone. Was it really him? Or was my mind playing tricks on me because I wanted so badly to confront him? That night, I decided I couldn't just sit around waiting anymore. If he wasn't going to come back, then I would find him myself, and I didn't care how many bridges I had to cross to do it. The search for him consumed me. Weeks turned into months, and every day I carried the weight of unanswered questions. I couldn't rest, not until I had the truth. I started piecing together fragments of information. A mutual acquaintance told me he had been seen in another city, hanging out with people who had a reputation for shady business. Another hinted that he was gambling, sinking deeper into debts he couldn't escape. The picture was becoming clearer and darker. He wasn't just running from me, he was running from everyone. But I refused to let it end like that. He had taken my trust, my money and years of friendship, and disappeared without a word. I needed to look him in the eye and hear the truth, even if it broke me. One rainy evening, I drove 2 hours to a town I'd never been to, following a lead that he was working under a different name at a small bar. My heart pounded the entire way. When I pushed the door open, the smell of alcohol and cigarette smoke hit me. And then, there he was, sitting at the far corner, hunched over, a shadow of the man I once knew. His hair was messy, his eyes sunken, and his clothes worn. For a moment, I froze. This wasn't the friend I remembered. This was someone destroyed by his own choices. But anger surged inside me, stronger than pity. I walked straight toward him. He looked up. For a split second, his eyes widened in shock. Then, as if nothing happened, he smirked and muttered, "I knew you'd find me." I sat down, my hands trembling, my voice sharp. "Where's my money? Where have you been?" He sighed, leaned back, and said words I'll never forget. "The money's gone. It was gone the moment you gave it to me. I was desperate. I was drowning. And I knew you trusted me enough not to ask questions." I felt my chest tighten. All those sleepless nights, all the worry, all the hope, it all shattered in that instant. "So that's it?" I asked, my voice cracking. "After everything we've been through, this is how it ends? You use me and then vanish?" He looked away, ashamed, but then added coldly, "I never asked you to give me that much. You chose to, and I can't give back what I don't have." The anger inside me exploded. I wanted to scream, to shake him, to make him understand what he had done to me. But then I realized there was nothing left to save. The person I had once called a brother no longer existed. I stood up, my legs heavy but my decision clear. "You didn't just steal my money," I said slowly. "You stole my trust, and that's something you'll never get back." As I walked out of that bar into the pouring rain, I felt both empty and strangely relieved. The truth had cut deep, but at least I wasn't in the dark anymore. I knew who he had become, and I knew I had to let go. The money was gone. The friendship was dead. But I had learned a lesson that would stay with me forever. Trust is precious, and once broken, it can never be rebuilt. And that night, under the stormy sky, I finally closed the chapter on the friend I thought I knew. And so, our story comes to an end today. But in the world of Max Fables, every tale carries a lesson and leaves an impact. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you won't miss our upcoming tales here, where stories come to life.